Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in our series, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. You must know, said Estella, condescending to me as a brilliant and beautiful woman might, that I have no heart, if that has anything to do with my memory. I got through some jargon to the effect that I took the liberty of doubting that. That I knew better, that there could be no such beauty without it. Oh, I have a heart to be shot or to be stabbed in or shot in, I have no doubt, said Estella. And of course, if it ceased to beat, I should cease to be. But you know what I mean. I have no softness there, no sympathy, sentiment, nonsense. What was it that was borne upon my mind when she stood still and looked attentively on at me? Anything that I had seen in Miss Havisham? No. In some of her looks and gestures there was that tinge of resemblance to Miss Havisham, which may often be noticed to have been acquired by children from grown persons with whom they have been much associated and secluded, and which, when childhood is past, will produce a remarkable occasional likeness of expression between faces that are otherwise quite different. And yet I could not trace this to Miss Havisham. I looked again, and though she was still looking at me, the suggestion was gone. What was it? I'm serious, said Estella, not so much with a frown, for her brow was smooth, as with a darkening of her face. If we are to be thrown much together, you had better believe it at once. No, imperiously stopping me as I opened my lips. I have not bestowed my tenderness anywhere. I have never had any such thing. In another moment we were in the brewery so long disused, and she pointed to the high gallery where I had seen her going out on that same first day, and she told me she remembered to have been there up there, and to have seen me standing scared below. As my eyes followed her white hand, again the same dim suggestion that I could not possibly grasp crossed me. My involuntary start occasioned her to lay her hand upon my arm. Instantly, the ghost passed once more and was gone. What was it? What is the matter? Asked Estella. Are you scared again? I should be, if I believed what you just said now, I replied to turn it off. Then you don't? Very well. It is said, at any rate, Miss Havisham will soon be expecting you at your old post, though I think that might be laid aside now, with other old belongings. Let us make one more round of the garden, and then go in. Come. You shall not shed tears for my cruelty today. You shall be my page, and give me your shoulder. Her handsome dress had trailed upon the ground. She held it in one hand now, and with the other lightly touched my shoulder as we walked. We walked round the ruined garden twice or thrice more, and it was all in bloom for me. If the green and yellow growth of weed in the chinks of the old wall had been the most precious flowers that ever blew, it could not have been more cherished in my remembrance. There was no discrepancy of years between us, to remove her far from my age. We were nearly the same age, though of course the age told her for more in her case than in mine. but the air of inaccessibility which her beauty and her manner gave her tormented me in the midst of my delight, and at the height of the assurance I felt that our patroness had chosen us for one another. Wretched boy! At last we went back into the house, and there I heard with surprise that my guardian had come down to see Miss Havisham on business, and would come back to dinner. The old wintry branches of chandeliers in the room where the mouldering table was spread had been lighted while we were out, and Miss Havisham was in her chair and waiting for me. It was like pushing the chair itself back into the past, when we began the old slow circuit round about the ashes of the bridal feast. But in the funeral room, with that figure of the grave back in the chair fixing upon her, its eyes upon her, Estella looked more bright and beautiful than before, and I was under stronger enchantment. The time so melted away that our early dinner hour drew close at hand, and Estella left us to prepare herself. We had stopped near the center of the long table, and Miss Havisham, with one of her withered arms stretched out of the chair, rested that clenched hand upon the yellow cloth. As Estella looked back over her shoulder before going out at the door, Miss Havisham kissed that hand to her with a ravenous intensity that was of its kind quite dreadful. Then, Estella being gone, and we two left alone, she turned to me and said in a whisper, "Is she beautiful, graceful, well grown? Do you admire her? Everybody must who sees her, Miss Havisham." She drew an arm round my neck and drew my head close down to hers as she sat in the chair. "Love her, love her, love her. How does she use you?" Before I could answer, if I could have answered so difficult a question at all, she repeated, "Love her, love her, love her. If she favors you, love her. If she wounds you, love her. If she tears your heart to pieces, and as it gets older and stronger, it will tear deeper. Love her, love her, love her." Never had I seen such passionate eagerness as was joined to her utterance of these words. I could feel the muscles of the thin arm round my neck swell the vehemence that possessed her. "Hear me, Pip. I adopted her to be loved. I bred her and educated her to be loved. I developed her into what she is, that she might be loved. Love her." She said the word often enough, and there could be no doubt that she meant to say it. But if the often repeated word had been hate instead of love, despair, revenge, dire death, it could not have sounded from her lips more like a curse. "I'll tell you," said she, in the same hurried, passionate whisper, "what real love is. It is blind devotion, unquestioning, self-humiliation, utter submission, trust and belief against yourself and against the whole world, giving up your whole heart and soul to the smiter, as I did." When she came to that, and to a wild cry that followed that, I caught her round the waist, for she rose up in the chair, in her shroud of a dress, and struck at the air as if she would have soon struck herself against the wall and fallen dead. We'll go ahead and stop there for this week. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.